Research into field peas has been lacking. Now Nebraska Extension stepping up. Here's our Grow interview. Why the interest in field peas?
Field peas have been a really interesting crop agronomically, first of all, fitting them as a fallow replacement in western Nebraska. What has been lacking in the past is lack of research how to grow them really in that range of yield stability over the years, and also the markets were not really there yet. Now we are seeing the markets opening up, the research dollars coming in, looking at that agronomic component, and the farmers are picking up on the acres as well, which should help with diversifying our crop rotations and diversifying how we market our grains.
I was just going to ask you, where do you see this fitting into a crop rotation?
In western Nebraska, we typically replace fallow component in a wheat corn fallow or wheat fallow rotation. As we go towards east, we have seen a lot of replacing soybeans in a wheat corn soybean rotation. What that allows growers in south central and Nebraska that have been growing wheat is they're looking at their shorter season crop that yields a little bit less than soybeans, but around that range of price and yield, and it also gives them about 2 months of worth of time to replenish that soil profile and get the wheat on time so they can harvest the wheat. And what I've been talking to the producers that already incorporated peas in eastern Nebraska or south central Nebraska is that they really see a lot better wheat yield after peas than soybeans.
From more of a kind of a grower's perspective, what are some of the agronomic considerations in growing peas as part of a rotation with some of those other kind of cash crops that we're used to?
Really want to get them, what are the pea yield average in Nebraska in different regions? What can we realistically expect from them? And we've been looking at different things such as selecting the right varieties, planting them at different times, planting different seeding rates. What we really need to look into and what we are really finding out is that getting them early enough and thick enough, planting them thick enough, applying, make sure we get that nodulation right so we don't get into an issues that where we don't have nodules and don't have a nitrogen fixation or the nitrogen benefit that comes after that. Those are some of the things that we've been looking at, and hopefully we're going to come up with really good recommendations. The guys, they have cattle, they fit a little bit differently. They maybe put it under pivot and then come back with the cover crop or a forage crop after that. So it's really interesting not only how the peas fit into different ecoregions of Nebraska, but also for the guy how they work for both grain producers and the producers that have cattle in their operation.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We also caught up this week with extension educators on the topic of pesticide safety. NTV's Tara Gibbons has more.
When talking about pesticide safety, there's two things to worry about: your safety and those around you.
We always start with the label. The label's the law when it comes to determining what's the correct way to apply pesticides.
It may sound like common sense, but it helps a lot. Todd Whitney is a UNL Extension officer, and he says you should always lean towards what the manufacturer is recommending.
The next thing is to think about what are environmental conditions. And again, the label generally will provide those recommendations.
But the best time to do this is in the morning.
The wind speeds to be about 2 to 15 miles per hour, and that we have less temperature.
And always check your surroundings.
Check out the neighborhood to see if there are some sensitive crops, especially next door.
If you have any questions regarding pesticide safety, you can contact your local extension office.
Drought conditions return. We'll break it down up next. Later, Howard County, our county snapshot.